Hello everybody, this is Marcus Toole and I am in my orchard in Statesboro, Georgia, and I thought I'd give a brief little orchard tour. It is St. Patrick's Day, March 17th, 2025. It's a Monday. The first tree in the picture, this was a drag queen plum, but as you can see, I have cut off the branches and have grafted it over. I have grafted it over to an Asian type plum called Mariposa. And behind me over here, I have some little grafts on some baby plums that are inside this deer protection. And all three of these are a variety called Gulf Beauty. Two of them are grafted onto Munson plum, and the one in the middle here is grafted onto Toole's Heirloom, which is a Chickasaw cultivar. The Munson plum is a wild Prunus munsonia, which is a tree that's native to places like Texas. And I just trialing to see if to compare how they do. And I've got several others. This is actually a Gulf Rose, which is another. Well, I should explain the Gulf plums. The Gulf series plums were bred by the University of Florida. I believe there are 5 of them in total. I have the 3 with the best ratings. I have Gulf Beauty, which is what these 3 in here are. And then I have Gulf Rose, and this is a Gulf Rose. And I have several others throughout the orchard grafted in. And then there's a third one called Gulf Blaze. And these were developed by the University of Florida for hot climates. They are just especially resistant to not only all the disease and pests that the other plums bred for the South, like the ones done in Byron, Georgia, and the ones done at Auburn University. They aren't just resistant to those, but they're also resistant to leaf scald, which is a disease I'm beginning to have more and more issues with in my orchard. And I'm seeing how these do. They might bloom too early for my climate, but I have high hopes based on the experiences of people I know in North Florida and South Texas, that maybe they will bloom about the same time as my early blooming Chickasaw plums. So anyway, Gulf Rose is a red plum with red flesh. Gulf Beauty is a black plum with amber color flesh. As we kind of walk along here, this is my Segundo plum. The Segundo is one of the ones that came out of the breeding program in Byron, Georgia. I grafted this tree last year, and it already has, of course, not really wanting to focus on them, but it has some little plums on this tree. Here's some more over here. And more of actually that little plum is beginning to get some size to it. So this tree is going to make a few plums. So hopefully I will find out what this tree is really like. I have some grafts kind of near the base of it of trees that these are actually Sonny's yellow tree plum trees grafted. There's the mature Sonny's yellow tree. I mainly grafted those to sell next year. Sonny's yellow has got an enormous crop of little plums coming in on it. Well, I tell you what, it's hard to get the camera to focus on little tiny plums. It just is. This right here is a black ruby plum, which I grafted in last year. This is a ruby sweet that I grafted into a mature autumn plum tree. And this ruby sweet, and I will be shocked if this camera focuses well enough for you to be able to tell, but this ruby sweet is beginning to set a little bit of fruit. So I think there's a chance it's going to make just a few plums this year. Not very many by any stretch, but some. Over here, I have some high grafted. When I say high grafted, I grafted them high up in the stem. These are Gulf Blaze. So this is the third of those varieties that were produced by the University of Florida, bred by the University of Florida, of the Gulf series plums. This one has red skin and yellow flesh, I believe. This is another Gulf Blaze. And here are some little spares of little plums I grafted of different kinds. And I always graft, when I do grafting, I always graft extras of each one, just so that if the graft doesn't take of one, then I have others to back up. This one here, these are the Gulf Rose again, in a different spot. This is actually where I'm going to have the Gulf Rose tree. So if you know, it'll probably want to be one of those trees that I keep. It might be this one here, and I just move it over there because this one's growing the fastest of them all. But you know, I don't know which one I'm going to keep, but I'll keep one of them, and I'll keep another. I have another Gulf Rose in another area of the yard that I plan to keep. This right here is one of my pink frost grapefruits, and it produced a great crop last year, and you know, this phone does not like to focus in on things up close very easily when it's doing video. Pink frost has really done a good job at going through winter, and it's going to bloom quite a bit again this year. I got another one over there that's also going to bloom this year. It's further behind, and then the little one that's kind of way, you kind of see it kind of way out here in the corner, out in front of that red azalea bush, this little one. And it's going to bloom just a little bit. I might let it form one grapefruit. I don't want it forming too much because it's still kind of small to ripen a big old grapefruit. My satsumas are just covered in bloom buds. I think I'm going to have the best satsuma orange crop this year as I have ever had, and it's not just one tree, it's all the trees. This one there, the bloom buds are still too small to really see. This is a ruby red grapefruit, and it doesn't have a ton of bloom buds on it yet, but it has more than it ever has had. So I think I should get some ruby reds. This is a brown select satsuma, and it's covered in little buds. They're really tiny still, though. Anyway, it's going to bloom. This is the lemon frost lemon, and it's set up to bloom. It's going to bloom this year. So I'm really pleased with both the plums and the citrus trees so far. I'm also super pleased with the pear trees. They bloomed really well. This year I sprayed them down with streptomycin to keep the fire blight down, And so far, it appears to be working. Try to get it focused in on that branch so that you can see the little pears forming on this tree. Doesn't look like it's going to do it though. I don't know what it is with this phone. This phone is the worst at focusing of any cell phone I think I've ever had. You would think with the modern technology, as they get better with the technology, that they would actually get better, but I don't. That doesn't seem to be happening. So anyway, this little tree's got quite a few plums. We've got the rabbit eye blueberry bushes are in full bloom. I wonder if you can see that little bee. That little bee there. Yeah, cute little guy. All right, so we're kind of going around. This is that little pink frost grapefruit, little wild plum tree there. It's got full of little wild plums. The Tools heirloom tree is just full of little plums, but they're kind of high up, and I doubt you can see them in this phone. Only pear tree that's still really blooming extensively is the Korean giant. There's a fair bit of bloom overlap between the Korean giant and this golden boy right here, or not the golden boy, but not the, actually that's a ball one. It's the golden boy over there. But we had a big thunderstorm pass through this morning, and it knocked all the blooms off of the golden boy, at least most of them, and it knocked a fair number off this tree. So anyway, I hope this tree got pollinized. I think it did. I think it got plenty of overlap. I haven't seen a huge number of bees on it, but I'm hoping it got pollinized. All the other pear trees did, but of course it'll be a while before I could tell on that one. This big plum tree here, which I think is a methley, I was calling it a Mariana plum for a long time, and it is on Mariana rootstock, but this is clearly different from the rootstock, and but it's not what I had bought the tree to be for sure. And the cultivar that it pretty much has to be in terms of what that nursery sold at the time, and what the fruit on this tree looked like, it pretty much has to be methley, because that nursery didn't have any other strain which produces fruit that looks anything like the fruit that's on this tree. So anyway, this is one of my Robusto plums. It's full of little plums on it. I think you can kind of see them silhouetted against the sky there. It produced a pretty good crop. This is the Ridgeland plum. It has a fair crop. It got pretty good fruit set on the flowers that it did bloom. It just didn't bloom a whole lot this year. And see more blueberry bushes. Huckleberry bushes got a good fruit set on the huckleberries. Once again, it's not wanting to focus in on. There you go. You can see, now you can see the actual berries on the bush. The Tennessee pears got pretty good fruit set on it. As always, you got a lot of branches that have no pears at all, and in some branches that is just thick on it with them. Tennessee's just like that. This is the Southern King. It's kind of like that too. You know, some branches are just thick with little pears, and then the other branches don't have hardly any on it. But it's going to produce a fair crop. This is Southern Bartlett tree, or at least that's what it was supposed to be. That's what I bought it as. Whether it actually is or not is kind of questionable. It could have been something else that got mislabeled. Anyway, it had a huge crop of pears on it. I have thinned them quite a bit because it would have overcropped, and the fruit quality would not have been very good had I not thinned it. And so that's what I did with that tree. I thinned the Baldwin tree as well, and there's a couple of other trees. I think Tennessee is going to need to be thinned as well as LeConte. This is another huckleberry bush where you could tell this one really has a heavy crop of huckleberries on it. So let's come out into the part of the orchard that's a little bit more sunny, be easier for the phone, the blueberry bush. This is the Byron Gold plum tree. It's one I grafted last year. This little tree over here is another little ruby sweet. This is the Savannah pear. This tree's about 5 years old and it hasn't produced anything yet. Savannah pear is proving to be a very slow maturing variety. It's a really good pear. I don't know how productive it's going to be though. That's the big unknown question. This is the Tennessee. Tennessee finished blooming this weekend. I don't know how much you can tell through the phone, but it's full of little pears. Yeah, you can see them. So yeah, it's full of little pears. Yeah. So coming this way, we got, this is the other black ruby, which is a black plum with yellow flash. This is the big Robusto plum tree. This tree is full of little plums. This is the LeConte pear tree. The LeConte is full of little pears. This one's going to have to be thinned. It's not quite time on this one. The pears need to get a little bit bigger before it's time to thin them, but it's definitely going to need thinning. This tree, I was not expecting this tree to bloom nearly as much as it did, but it sure did bloom good this year, and really has a big crop on it. Let's see, over here, I've got a couple of more grafts. This right here is another high grafted plum tree. Actually, I grafted it over. This was originally going to be Segundo, and then I grafted it over to Ruby Queen, which is a very late ripening plum, late season ripening plum. So the plums on that, it's kind of a maroon color fruit, and this is another one. So I'm going to have two trees that are going to be side by side. And they will be pollinized by the black ruby and hopefully the Shiro. This is a Shiro plum tree here. Something that's new happening this year in this Robusto tree, I have grafted in one limb of Excelsior. This is the Excelsior hybrid, it's not the Chickasaw plum that's called by the same name. And this Excelsior plum has never, despite this branch being, I mean, the branch matured years ago, but the issue with it is that it has a fairly high chilling requirement, and usually our winters just aren't cool enough for it to bloom properly. This year it bloomed properly, and it's got a really heavy crop of little plums on it. And so, I mean, it's still not a suitable tree for this climate, but the plums I have tasted off of the Excelsior so far have been just fantastic. They're like purple plums with yellow flesh, and the flavor is just really rich and complex, and really a really nice flavor that's kind of hard to describe. And so I'm really excited to see that it's going to produce good this year. I can't recommend it for Statesboro, Georgia. because of the chilling requirement issue. But if you're, you know, about an hour north of here, or even an hour inland where you get more chilling hours, I think it would be a great plum for, say, central Georgia, up around, you know, Macon, Augusta, you know, that part of the state. I think it would do just fine. So anyway, this is the orchard tour. This is Tim Tim. This is a cat that adopted me. And anyway, enjoyed talking to you, and I'll give you further updates on the orchard as things progress in this season. This is Marcus Toole saying, God bless and goodbye.